Hi, my beautiful saucies. So, I just wanted to talk a little bit about why I believe that blakistan is bad for the exotical community or the MLS community. MLS is mixed and light skin people, male or female. So, for one thing, the black community never really sees MLS people as being like them. They know from day one, they see the privilege in you before you even see it. And early on, when you're a little kid, you are taught that you are black. You wear the black hairstyles, you have the black, that you wear the black clothing trends, you go to black churches, black schools, you're around black people, you eat the black food, you talk black, you act black, you walk black, you do everything black, blackity, black, black, black. You are taught to look up to the black greats as role models. You listen to black music. You eat what's considered black food or soul food or whatever you want to call it. And please don't get in my comments acting like you don't know what talking black, acting black, being black, the black swag, and eating black, talking black. Please don't get in my comments trying to play dumb like you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. You know full well what I'm talking about. There is a difference in the way that the black attitude, the black swag, the black style, the black trends, there is a difference. It's called black culture. So you're completely ensconced in black culture when you're a kid. You're told you're black and you're only light skinned or mixed or biracial or whatever because someone raped your grandmother. That is what you're told. You're taught to identify that way. You are taught to call yourself a black person. You are like it is ingrained in your brain from the time you are little. But when you become an adult, the goalpost is certain. It's like suddenly moved, and now you are perceived as a threat. You are considered colorist. You're considered privileged, and you are hurting unambiguous dark-skinned black people in some kind of way. You're taking stuff from them. These are the things that you're accused of once you become an adult. No, now you're no longer black. Now you can no longer identify that way. Now you can no longer use the N word. Now you can no longer socialize in black spaces. You're not welcome anymore. And the black community wants you to quote unquote prove yourself to them so that they can validate your black card if you want to be accepted in those black spaces by black people. All of a sudden now these same people, your cousins, your friends, everybody you grew up with, your family, now the relationships are strained because now you have to prove yourself. And now you are considered a threat in some kind of way. You're considered a social threat. They can see the social power in you before you can see it. They can see the privileges that you have. And the privileges that you have is a fluid identity. You have an ambiguous look and you can blend in different spaces. Blasian spaces, Latino spaces, mixed race, biracial spaces. Especially if you are educated and clean cut, you really could go you really could go very far, especially if you don't really adopt into a lot of monoculturally stereotypical blakistan culture. If you are willing to open yourself up to other cultures and speak other languages or speak the English language properly, you can go far. But you, as a mixed and light-skinned person, when you're little, you're proud of your blackness. You are very proud of who you are. You're proud of the black race, and you think everything is fine. You think you're just a regular black person because that is what they told you. That is what they tell you from the time you're little. You're just a regular black person. So you engage in all the social justice warrior rhetoric. And it's not all rhetoric. I mean, a lot of times it is necessary to stand up and speak out about certain issues. I'm not going to call all of it rhetoric, but you don't really challenge a lot of the things that are said publicly about the state of blakistan because you feel like it is near and dear to your heart. This is your culture. This is your history. And you are perfectly willing to go to bat for other black people because you don't see a difference, even though they do. But I remember when Chrissy, in particular, when she had first changed her channel from like a social commentary channel over to a colorism channel back in 2012 or 2013. I remember she posed a question to the MLS subscribers, mostly female. And she asked them, like, when she was first talking about colorism and talking about the privileges that MLS women have over unambiguous dark skinned black women, and how we step on them, and how we, mistreat them, and use them, and we don't really like them, we're stuck up, and all these kinds of things. She posed a question to her MLS subbies. Well, are light-skinned women going to give up their privilege to help and uplift their unambiguous dark-skinned black sisters? And she was saying that, MLS women have privileges based on phenotype and skin tone and keen features. So if you have all three of those things, especially together, one of those three things or all of them together, you are considered privileged. And are MLS women going to give up their privilege to uplift their, unambiguous sisters? So I remember wondering so if the privileges that we have are based on phenotype, how do we give up our privilege? You can't really change your phenotype or your skin tone, no matter how much you spend in the sun. You eventually lighten back up. And, unless you have money for like all these extravagant surgeries to, plump up your lips, and, it doesn't last very long. Like, how can you give up your privileges if you are born looking that way? You can't really change your looks like that. So I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm late to the party. Maybe I don't know. I guess this is how you give up your privilege. When black people tell MLS people, especially men and boys, to, prove yourself to me, or when they say to black, MLS women, are you going to give up your privilege? This is what they're talking about. They're talking about doing things like tatting up your face, like, messing up that beautiful macadamia nut and that golden skin tone, or that deep caramel, mixed skin tone that you have. You're supposed to mess that up with a bunch of tats on your face. You're supposed to get out here and whoop ass and take names, or get your own ass whooped, or, and, tat up your face, catch a couple of cases, have about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 babies by 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 men, or have a few children by a few women, by 3 or 4, 5 or 6 different women, so that they can get you for child support. And that will, severely limit your earning potential as an MLS man. Catch a few cases so that it hinders your ability to get a job and move around in other spaces. You're supposed to adapt heavily into AAVE so that you can limit your fluid identity and you really can't relate to other groups of people. You're supposed to do all kinds of, engage in all different kinds of degeneracy like them, so that the only space you would be restricted to would be the blakistsn spaces like them. They can't move around in different spaces, and they don't want to see you. You're supposed to go out and commit crimes and twerk in public and act ratchet, and beat on women, and like dog out women, and be in total asshole, and just be a complete menace to society, and where you limit your privileges. And that is what they expect from MLS people, men and women, especially boys. They really want MLS men and boys to really prove themselves so that you can get their acceptance. And a lot of MLS men have fallen for this, and women too, because, you're supposed to get out there and lose a few teeth, get your teeth knocked out like Christian Rock, and just get in the public eye, and make a complete damn fool out of yourself. And that's how you give up your privilege. So now that you are no longer able to move around in different spaces and get opportunities like, opportunities that a lot of black people, unambiguous black people, claim that they can't get, that they say you can get so much easier. And maybe it might be some truth to that, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, it's subjective, really. Social climbing is very subjective. So you can be the lightest person in the room and still not be able to social climb because of your attitude or your manner of speaking, maybe your culture, maybe you're a dickhead. I don't know. Same thing could apply to someone who's unambiguous. But I mean, this is what they expect MLS people to do, to prove ourselves to them so that we can be accepted in their spaces. Another way in which MLS people are expected to prove themselves to the Black community is by giving up certain job opportunities, like Amanda Seals or like Amanda Steinberg, like speaking out, like being like a social justice activist, like Amanda Seals or Kaepernick. Um, on behalf of the Black community. Now, Kaepernick, Amanda Seals, I definitely appreciate their bravery. I appreciate their strength and their ability to articulate the injustices that were happening in the Black community or against Black people in the community regarding police brutality and other areas of life that they called out the injustices that they saw, but it cost them their careers. It cost them their image and it hindered their ability to social climb, and it hindered their ability to find work. Especially Kaepernick. He got fired from the 49ers for speaking out against police brutality, which is a very, very needed asset to the Black community. I don't blame him because police brutality is definitely wrong. There was no legislation to really protect the Black community from that. It still isn't. So yeah, I applaud that, but nobody in Blakistan really appreciates it. Nobody, like, it seems like like Kaepernick disappeared off of the face of the earth. You don't hear anything else about him. I don't follow him, so I don't know where he is. And nobody in the Black community has the ability to give him the same kind of opportunity that he had prior to him speaking out. And the Black community pays you back with songs like "They Not Like Us" and all different kinds of commentary and videos and stuff about playing the racial politics, the complexion wars. And they down MLS people. They say we look like fools when we try to grow afros and be activists and engage in activism or social justice activism on their behalf. They don't appreciate it. So those are some of the ways in which they expect you to give up your privilege. And me personally, I for one would not do it. I would speak out for MLS people, MLS rights. And there's been a lot of talk about MLS people separating. Now, I'm not trying to be political because this is not a political channel, but I am not blind. I am not deaf and dumb. I see what's happening. In the political world, with the new administration, there's a lot of departments being dismantled. A lot of different cuts are being made. And it may come down to the Black community having to band together, MLS community having to band together. And I just wonder if you could picture an MLS person trying to ask a unambiguous dark-skinned Black person in Blakistan, because there's a difference between the Black community and Blakistan. But could you imagine, as an MLS person in this climate that we're in today and all of the outward vitriol that MLS people are getting, could you imagine having to go to an unambiguous dark-skinned business owner and ask for an opportunity or a job in this social climate? I mean, imagine what that would look like. I actually witnessed an unambiguous dark-skinned Black female manager give preferential treatment to an unambiguous dark-skinned Black employee that I trained a promotion. She gave her insider information, upcoming interview, what to say, the date and time, things like that, over me, and I'm the one that trained her. And I still say to this day, because she was very young, she was about 18, 19 years old, and I still say that she was less qualified than me, not based on skin tone, but because she was less qualified because she didn't like the job. Once she got the promotion, she hated it. She didn't want to do the job. And before you can do a job, you have to like something about it. You have to want to do it. And she hated every minute of it. She didn't want to take the call. She didn't want to do the filing. She didn't want to address employee concerns. She flashed her badge around. And when I trained her, it was just some little team lead position where she was only supposed to just provide assistance to her fellow coworkers. She wasn't given like subordinates or like a higher position. She was in a position to do a few more things than the average transporter, because that's what this was, a hospital transporter job. She was just hired just to relieve people for breaks or check their paperwork and make sure they were marking down like the times every hour when they were like, you know, sitting or watching the patients. She was only supposed to you know, give water breaks or bathroom breaks or something like that. That's all she was supposed to do. Or just being an additional like sitter, because we were cross-trained to be sitters and transporters. So that's all she was supposed to do. And she got preferential treatment from another unambiguous dark-skinned black woman to be a supervisor, and she absolutely hated the job. So, and she actually, when she was a transporter team lead, she fell out with every last one of the sitters. All of them hated her because she was flashing her badge around and making a big deal out of her promotion. And but when it came time for her to actually fulfill her job requirements, she hated it. So that's one example. Another example is another coworker of mine who was unambiguous and dark skinned, was friends with this same manager, and this manager was known to be a bitch. I mean, everybody of all different races, complexions, whatever, hated this woman, and she knew she was a bitch, and she was proud of it. And so an unambiguous dark-skinned black coworker of mine was friends with her, I guess, and or friendly with her, and she gave her an extra 200 on her check. Just kind of slipped it to her, and it was very hush hush, and my coworker told me about it. But of course, I am a first responder now. I've given up that job a long time ago. But that's just one example of how, you know, they complain about white people not giving them an opportunity and, you know, passing them up because they're dark skinned or they're black or whatever. And then they turn around and they do the same fucking thing to you or me or any other MLS person that they perceive as a threat. So that is why I believe, you know, MLS people should separate, honestly. I don't know. That's a very controversial topic, but I don't see any benefit to being a part of a community that doesn't like you or doesn't like support you or speak out for you, because, you know, MLS people are on the receiving end of a lot of vitriol these days, especially like they don't like this young man right here, Marcus Freeman. He's half Korean, half black. He has a black father and a Korean mother, and he identifies as a Korean. So he moves around quite well, I'm quite sure, in Korean spaces. I'm sure he speaks fluent Korean, and he is heavily ensconced in his mother's culture, and he's married to a white woman. So he has found opportunity, love, and marriage outside of the black community. So, you know, black people are mad about it because he doesn't look to identify as black. So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't as an MLS person. When you identify as a black person, they hate you. They tell you you're not black, get out of our spaces. And then when you do that and you want nothing to do with them or their spaces, then they're mad even still and feel the need to make videos about you and call you out because you don't need them. So the whole situation is a lose-lose for MLS people being a part of the black community. I don't see a benefit to it. And for all the black people that are decent and don't feel that way and don't feel hatred toward MLS people, they certainly are quiet. They don't say anything to counter the arguments that blakistsn makes against us. So maybe separation would not be all that bad, but that is my video. So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And let me know what you think in the comments down below. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you guys next time.